President Buhari promises investors greater opportunities in Nigeria, just as he promises to broaden economy through multilateral financing. CBN, EFCC, FCCPC and others to prosecute loan sharks over data piracy abuse. Nigeria inflation falls for 7th straight month in October 2021. All industry calls for inclusivity on the climate efforts. This is Business Express and we are reaching you from Abuja, Nigeria's capital. I'm Leah Katun Babatunde. Our issue for today, African Export-Import Bank, AFREXIM Bank, just last week awarded $400,000 in grant funding to the National Institute for Pharmaceutical Research and Development, NIPRID of Nigeria, for the establishment of an active pharmaceutical ingredient API plant. The grant represents a significant proportion of the estimated funds required to implement the project. Pharmaceutical manufacturing companies in Africa rely heavily on the importation of APIs and export, of course, other ingredients which are essential to formulate finished pharmaceutical goods. And this is our focus, as I stated earlier this morning. And I have with me in the studio Dr. Obi Adigwe. He is the Director General of the National Institute for Pharmaceutical Research and Development, NIPRID. He joins me to look at the grants and its potential impact on the nation's economy. Good morning and welcome to Business Express, Doctor.
Morning, Leah, and it's a pleasure to be here once again to talk to Nigerians.
So we begin, if you may, tell me, and a lot of Nigerians, congratulations by the way, what does this mean for NIPRID, for Nigeria, the pharmaceutical sector of the country?
Well, the announcement of the grant last week was a bittersweet moment for me. Sweet in terms of the fact that since I was appointed about 3 years ago, we've been putting together strong proposals and pushing out these proposals, putting on the table the issue of medicine security across board. And I want to congratulate President Orama of the AFREXIM Bank for being one of the early adopters of our interventions, because when COVID hit, we developed close to 40, 50 thematic proposals that speak to the entire pharmaceutical and phytomedicinal sector and pushed this out to about 50 local partners. And when I say local partners, I mean philanthropists, development partners, and funding agencies within Nigeria. And when we didn't get the kind of response that we thought we should get from local partners, we now started engaging international partners. And I think AFREXIM Bank is the third to engage with us. We've gotten some funding from ECOWAS, and we've also gotten this funding from AFREXIM Bank in different areas. So that's why it's a sweet moment, but it's a bitter moment for me, like I mentioned earlier on, because for the pharmaceutical sector and for R&D, especially when it comes to NIPRID, it sort of like seems like the Nigerian setting, sort of like is the proverbial village in the Bible who doesn't understand the value of its prophet. Because except for the government, who has supported us in getting 100 new pieces of equipment, and 1 or 2 local collaborators from the private sector, it's like the groundbreaking world-class research that's being done in NIPRID, which we've been talking about for the past 10 years, is deliberately ignored by philanthropists, local partners, and development agencies. But I'm glad that people out there, recognize the world-class standard that we have in NIPRID, and we're pushing forward regardless of the local resistance that hasn't sort of like encouraged us within the country.
Okay, so the APIs are now for a lot of people out there. What does it mean?
Good. I think this is the most pertinent question that we should be talking about. The whole world is banging on about vaccines for COVID-19. And vaccines, it's a good argument, right? However, let me give you an inkling as regards what vaccines mean in comparison to APIs. If you have 10 pharmaceutical if you have 10 diseases or 10 healthcare ailments, vaccines can only sort out 1 out of 10 of them. Oh, wow. Whereas APIs are critical for 9 out of 10 pharmaceutical interventions in terms of diseases. And just to bring home the point of how critical this issue is, when COVID-19 hit and the pandemic was declared a world emergency, India and China, who are the world's sort of like home for APIs, put a restriction on export of API. So what it meant was that if that restriction continued, literally things like paracetamol, things like antimalarial medicines, things like antibiotics, the entire spectrum of medicines would have been truncated. So that is what APIs mean to Africa and to Nigeria. And like I mentioned earlier on, we pushed out these proposals and we expected that local people, you know, the big millionaires, the big billionaires, the big corporate entities will quickly understand the criticality of APIs and come in to support NIPRID, because NIPRID already has some capacity and what we needed was a top-up. And unfortunately, that wasn't gotten. But like I mentioned, AFREXIM Bank quickly picked up on it, invited us to engage, submit our proposals. And then, subsequent meetings went on. And they put forward a strong statement indicating that they will support us. And more importantly, in addition to supporting us, what we're building with that grant is an API training and pilot production plant. And with AFREXIM Bank as our partner, what it means is that that particular entity in NIPRID will be training scientists all across Africa, because that's one of the conditions that we're working with API. Okay. And it speaks to the point about NIPRID, re-engineering Nigeria to become the pharmaceutical and phytomedicinal hub for Africa. As I speak to you today, Nigeria currently has the advantage in terms of local pharmaceutical and phytomedicinal manufacturing. But in the next 3 months, in the next 10 days, in the next 1 year, that advantage may no longer be there.
Why do you say that?
Yes, because other countries are moving forward. And we are sitting on our hands and waiting for government. All of the partners that are meant to come on board and partner with NIPRID and take the sector forward are sort of like prevaricating. As I speak to you, Ghana, Senegal, and Rwanda have already engaged with foreign partners, and I'm aware that for a particular pharmaceutical intervention, Senegal and Rwanda have gotten about $20 million, in terms of partnership. As I speak to you, Ethiopia, who had only about 10% of the capacity that we had, based on the fact that the chap who sits on my seat reports directly to the president and he was highly prioritized, they have increased their capacity by 10-fold. South Africa, the same thing. So, sitting on our hands when we have the advantage and thinking that the whole world is going to come to us, that's sort of like, an ostrich dipping his hand in the sand and feeling that it will always be the big bird there. We all need to wake up. Government has taken a step forward. It has provided the platform. It has provided the policy statement. Remember that the president, in his October 1st speech, for the first time in the history of this country, dedicated about 5% of his speech to pharmaceutical independence. That's the same thing as the medicine security that we've been arguing for the past 10 years. So government has provided a policy direction. Government has provided billions in support to NIPRID. NIPRID has the template to move this entire sector forward. Things like API manufacturing, things like excipient manufacturing, things like artificial intelligence and machine learning, things like contextual processing protocol, things like nanotechnology. These are all interventions that we're bringing for in NIPRID. But the partnership from people who will benefit the most, the Nigerians who have the means, is not coming, and that needs to change.
Okay, so in changing this, before I let you go, what will be your advice? And you've also mentioned some sectors of intervention that you feel that are key takeaways for us in the short run. Do you have any sort of collaboration with some other agencies or institutions?
So, I mean, you just need to go to our website, to get a grant worth 5.8 billion naira from the Japanese government. They will not give you that grant if you're not world class. To get a multi-thousand grant from the ECOWAS, they will not also give you that. Same thing with AFREXIM Bank. In terms of world class quality, NIPRID has it. And under my leadership, we have now started to look forward. So the interventions I mentioned earlier on, AI and ML, nanotechnology, CPP, these are interventions that will move the entire continent for the next 20 years. We're already forward thinking, okay? But in all these areas, we need partners. Nothing stops the Dangotes of this world to say, listen, our brother industry is located in this area and this area. Can you help us develop a phytomedicinal plan to train local people in this area using your CPP? And they bring 500 million for that grant. Nothing stops them from doing that. Nothing stops the Econets, the Globacoms, and the MTN foundations of this world to say, we have so and so amount of people in our database, 30 million, 50 million. Can we together develop an artificial intelligence algorithm so that Nigerians are better informed about this? And they bring out 500 million. And I keep telling people, because there's always this thinking that, Adigwe is here to chop your money. That's not what we do at NIPRID. When you put down these interventions, you bring the machinery, you bring the algorithm, we bring our technical partnership. That's what AFREXIM Bank is doing. They're purchasing the equipment and bringing it. And that's what the Japanese guys did. So we are here and we're open for business. Our website is out there. I am one of the most accessible DGs. If you let me, I'll tell everybody my phone number. Ring me and let's begin partnerships. Let's stop this thing about we're the giants of Africa. We have all these things and we'll keep being in the for. Now, let me tell you something, Leah. In terms of different sectors, because I know your program is a multi-sectorial, no sector has the potential that the pharmaceutical sector has. Not food, not oil, not textile. Do you understand? And so if we put the relevant focus on prioritizing pharma, it will not only improve access to healthcare, it will also stimulate socio-economic development, job creation, capacity building, revenue generation, technology transfer. There's a plethora of socio-economic indices that it can help. And you've just realized, I hope you've seen the attention that's being put on the continent. Yes. AFDB has just announced I think it's $3 or $5 billion grant for the pharma sector. It's only in Nigeria that we're sitting down and neglecting the pharma sector to the background.
So we're going to call you back to tell us more of this. And I'm hoping it's going to be sometime very, very soon, because I'm being told our time is up.
Well, it's always a pleasure, Leah. Thank you for all the work you guys do at NTA. And even though I'm very media shy, whenever you call me and you give me notice, I will come to brief Nigerians about our progress. Thank you.
Thank you, Derek. So we'll move straight to Surviving COVID-19 series.
Thank you for watching. For regular updates in health sector and pharma research and development, click on the subscribe button right now. Remember to like and share as well.